Republican Senator Mitch McConnell just won re-election back in November, and the guy is 79 years old. And he's about to have to finish a 6-year term, meaning that by the next time he's either up for re-election or decides to leave after his term, he's going to be 85 years old. And he isn't quite so sure that he's going to make it. Either, natural causes or maybe just him getting too exhausted and unable to do the job. So Mitch McConnell right now is working on an insurance policy. And it's a two-pronged insurance policy. The first prong is that he is devising a list of individuals who he believes would make suitable replacements for him in the United States Senate. People that would carry on the horrible legacy of Mitch McConnell. The second prong of it is that he is actually working may be a little strong, I guess you would say advising Republicans, the Republicans who control the Kentucky state legislature, on legislation that they're working on that would take away the ability of the Kentucky governor, who is a Democrat, to appoint a replacement should Mitch McConnell not make it to the end of his term. And instead, this legislation would allow the party of the individual who doesn't make it to the end of their term, they would convene a panel made up only of members of their party who would choose from the list that Mitch McConnell or whoever it would be makes of their suitable replacements. So Mitch McConnell would be the one essentially making the choice. The Republicans would just choose between his choices. This whole thing, honestly, if you're in Kentucky, though, by the way, this whole thing should piss you off because they're literally taking away your voice. I mean, even when we're talking about a governor appointing a replacement for, a retiring or a deceased senator, even that's a little ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, why is it so difficult to just hold a special election? Okay, this person's gone. We got to vote on somebody else because that's how this works. These people are supposed to be elected. Let's do it. I don't care if there's 1 month left in the term. I don't care if there's 20 months. In fact, I think it should be a rule. If there's only 6 months or less left in the term, that seat goes unfilled until the next election. That's how it should be. But instead, Mitch McConnell is so desperate to keep Republicans in power in the Senate that he is actively trying to circumvent the laws that are currently on the books. And the law on the books now says if something happens to Mitch McConnell or that other Republican senator from Kentucky, Rand Paul, the Democratic governor gets to pick. That's the law. And Republicans want to change that because they pretty much understand that a Democratic governor ain't exactly going to pick a Republican, right? Mitch McConnell, if he didn't think he was going to make it to the end of his term, or if he's already, 2 months into the new term, talking about, holy crap, I'm not going to be able to do this. Yeah, maybe we need to have some kind of limit, maybe an upper limit for age. We have a threshold for age. You can't run for the House if you're not, I forget it, it's high 20s. Senate, I think, is 30. President is 35. Because we don't think people under those ages have the mental capacity and the maturity to do these jobs. But we also know, it's scientific fact, this isn't an insult, but as you get older, especially up into Mitch McConnell's age, late 70s, 80s, even into 90s, mental capacity declines. So if people can be too young to run for office, maybe it's only fair that we put an upper limit on that as well. And maybe that would get rid of some of the McConnells and some of the other horrible people who have been holding this country back for decades now. But what Mitch McConnell is trying to do here is absolutely one of the more dastardly things that this man has attempted. And of course, would absolutely be a fitting legacy for Mitch McConnell.